All right, welcome back inside our Vancouver Proactive studio. And joining me now is Alain Ghiai, the CEO of GlobeX Data. Alain, great to see you again. How are you?
Doing great, Steve, and hi to everyone who's watching us.
Lots of stuff to talk about the company. You've signed another reseller deal with a holding company and their subsidiary, and this really opens up a lot of markets. We'll talk about that in a second, but first talk about this company.
So TAS Loco is a holding company of a company called Micronet. Micronet is a distributor of IT and cybersecurity solution, and since about 35 years. They operate in 11 countries, and they basically operate through 3,000 independent resellers. So they're in all over Central and Latin America, and they have about 1,000 resellers in Spain as well. The headquarters is in Spain. And what's really unique about them is that they only do cybersecurity and antivirus and endpoint security. And as you know, cybersecurity now is the business is exploding, and Latin America is a prime target and a prime growth target for that kind of sector. So we signed an exclusive agreement with them for them being the exclusive cybersecurity distributors. And then basically what we'll do is we're going to onboard up to 30 resellers to start. And then the idea is to onboard the top 10 resellers in all their countries. If I may elaborate, so they're operating in Spain as TAS Micro, and then they have a base of operations in Colombia, Mexico, Panama, and I believe Peru as well. So we're dealing right now with the Mexico, Colombia, Panama, Spain. We're going to develop that first, and then it's going to unfold. And every year we should see at least a 50 to 100% growth in sales by the fact that we're adopting more and more resellers, and by the fact that the market is growing as well.
Just looking at the sheer numbers involved in all of these countries that you talked about, I mean, the access is 385 million people. Just to get a small portion of that is I would think a big success.
Yeah, it's massive, and what's really good is that all of these people speak one language. Because we already have a base of operation in Mexico, we have the infrastructure, we have the staff to train them. And now with COVID, you do everything online and remote. That's even better. We've been negotiating this contract for 5 months. So that's a long process. And yes, 385 million people. I mean, I think I forgot which country it was. I think it was maybe just Latin America. Cybersecurity is a $13 billion business. It's going to double in the next 5 years. So you're looking at $25-30 billion as an industry. And even if you get, 1% of that, that's a very big chunk. We expect to have, in the next coming years, probably 15, 20, 50,000 users, independent users out of all the continents, and that would be a gross revenue of about $500,000 a month for us in a monthly recurring revenue, probably by the third year, which is quite big, considering that our entire company, our budget next year is probably less than $500,000.
Wow.
So we would make that eventually in a month.
Alain, I want to ask you one last question, and that's something you mentioned in the interview about onboarding. How important is the onboarding and the way that you want those resellers to discuss your features that you have? Is it probably one of the most key things you can do is making sure that onboarding is exactly the way you want it and the way they talk to people when they're trying to sell your products?
Yeah, so the difference between them and, let's say, a telecom operator that we signed last year is that, first of all, the resellers are 100% commission based. It's not a telecom operator with base salary. Number two, they have the knowledge of cybersecurity. They are focused on cybersecurity, so they're not distracted by selling Office 365 or G Suite email and so forth. So they're very laser targeted, and we're the only product that is customer facing. So once we train them, which we are doing over the next 90 days, they kind of go and sell it. They already have the client base. Focusing on a cybersecurity distributor is a very different thing than going to a big telecom operator or a managed service provider that'll just sell Microsoft all day long. And that's the big key difference. We probably have less work to do after the 90 days. It's a semi-automatic thing because the reseller wants to make the money. They get a commission, right? So that's a huge difference between a salaried staff and full commission staff. So we believe that it'll be successful.
Well, we look forward to hearing some of the numbers when you get those. Alain, great to see you again. Thank you so much for the update.
Thank you. We look forward to update you by the end of the year to see how it all went.
Sounds good. Alain Ghiai, the CEO of GlobeX Data.